Well, I saw the opportunity to get out of small town environment and to get involved. I always intended to go into the military, but I wanted to go into the Air Force and found out that my eyes would not allow me to get in there. And that was after after I was going to the Air Force recruiting office, and in order for me to get there, I had to walk through the Marine Corps offices. So this sergeant, it says, "Wow!" He saw me looking at the dress whites, and he said, "Man, you like those, don't you?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Come on in, get your set." the rest,
Inspiring.
the rest is history.
Uh, I was in the Army, drafted December 1st, 1965. We were sent to join up with another company. Um, and the situation was that another brigade was out there and they got themselves into some crap. And we were going there to help them out. The one thing that you did not do in Nam is you didn't chase the enemy because that was a setup for an ambush.
We were out on a reconnaissance patrol, and it was the last day we were supposed to get extracted on the next day, and we were in a place called Charlie Ridge. And we came across a heavily used trail, and my patrol leader thought it would be a good idea to set up an ambush. What he didn't do was check out the surrounding area, because as soon as we set up the ambush, right after we did that, we made contact and we were pretty much surrounded right away.
Well, we were surrounded, of course we didn't know it at the time, we were surrounded by Viet Cong, and they knew exactly what we were going to do. So it wasn't maybe 3 seconds after the illumination went off when they fired a rocket at my vehicle. They knew my vehicle was the lead vehicle and the leader of the platoon because I had 3 antennas on my vehicle, whereas all the other tracks had 1 antenna. I used to cheat and tie 1 or 2 of them down, but then you didn't have very good communications.
Yeah, I was in the way of a rocket and our mortar attack from the outside coming in. And I got it in the leg, back, and arms last time. And I was okay, but it started bothering me, so that's why I hung on after Tet. And they finally sent me home because they were having difficulties with my medical thing. Otherwise, I would have probably stayed till I went home in October.
So, but they knew that it was me, and they shot this rocket at the front of our vehicle. It went in through the engine. It killed the driver immediately, and continued on through the engine and out the back hatch. And as it went through the vehicle, I'm squatting down in front of this bank of radios that we had on the, I guess you call it the right side, the starboard side of the vehicle. And it was an instant thing. You don't know what's happening, but I was thrown out of the top hatch, kind of like Superman flying straight out. All I remember is seeing white light, and I don't remember hearing any explosion.
They came at us, everything went so fast, and I remember calling in for an emergency extraction, and just so happened there was a helicopter that was coming in. Matter of fact, it was brand new. And I said we gave him the coordinates, and all he was worried about was his windows. He didn't want his windows blown out. But anyway, we started, when the helicopters came in, the Hueys came over, giving us cover, and we started down the hill. Next thing I knew, there was an explosion. I went hand over foot, and still running when I landed, and the patrol leader was right behind me, and he helped me up, and we went to the helicopter, and the helicopter got surrounded, and we started firing, doing defensive firing, and they lifted us out, and we were checking each other, and the corpsman came up to me and says, "Are you okay?" I says, "I think so." He goes, "No, you're hit." I was like, "Where?" And I had shrapnel in my hand and my chest, and that was it.
As the point man, I walked about, anywhere between 25 and 50 yards out in the front of the column. So, and at that one particular time, that's when I noticed something that had moved up in front and about 50 yards away. And so I knelt down on one knee, raised my hand, and platoon commander came up and asked what was going on. I said, "Sir, something moved up in that hedge." And so he says, "Okay, let me check it out." So he called up machine gun team number 1. And so as we were gathering, he gave notice that, okay, the rest of the platoon, branch out, get down. They were going to use it as a rest period, really what it was, not realizing that we were in the sights of an ambush. And so once he laid the base of fire, the machine gun team number 1 laid the base of fire in the hedge, all hell broke loose. So, and that's when we lost a lot of people.
The first thing that came into our mind was, what are we doing here? And the reason I say that is whenever we set up for the evening, it was always on high ground. We were set up in the valley, and you just don't do that. So when a forward observer would call in a fire mission, I would have the phone, the telephone right there. And I served as the lieutenants. Well, sometime after the battle got going, we were in the inside part of the perimeter, and I looked out and I watched an RPG come in. And it killed my lieutenant. I was lying on the side of him. Took some shrapnel in the face. I didn't get my Purple Heart until 3 years ago, through my congressman and a lot of fighting. And he was able to get me that Purple Heart, which I needed for closure. Because sometimes I think, was I really there? And, yes, it's fresh in my mind what happened that day. But again, was I really there? And that's something I fight with every day.
During the Tet Offensive, we probably lost, we were guessing 70% of the advisors that were working with them, because they were aimed at targets. They were trying to get rid of the American advisors. Well, pretty much my whole team was just disappeared over the time, and especially after Tet, we lost them. Yes, I lost a tech sergeant, another staff sergeant, and they were in the same team I was on.
Now that I look at it, from now being about 75 years old, and I look back on this, and I see, and I just say, I'm blessed, I'm just blessed.